24/7. Good evening, creatures of the night. Welcome, lost souls. You found your way here, but not by accident. Cat Life 24/7 presents Cat Tales from the Crypt. Each week we'll step into the shadows where the stray cats hide. Join us if you're not a scaredy cat. They are silent watchers of the night, stealth parkour at its finest, ninjas. For centuries, they have been protectors, omens, and sometimes even monsters. From the halls of power in Washington, D.C., to the cursed ruins in Egypt, whispered legends tell of ghostly cats that don't just haunt your dreams, they sometimes change history. Tonight, we uncover 5 of the most terrifying true cat tales ever told. But be warned, once you know them, you'll never look at your cat the same way again. Story 1. The Demon Cat of the Capitol. Deep beneath the U.S. Capitol, where marble corridors give way to dark, echoing tunnels, guards whisper of the Demon Cat. The earliest stories trace back to the Civil War, when soldiers quartered in the Capitol claimed to see a phantom tabby roaming the rotunda at night. Not just a stray, but a cat that grew in size the longer you stared. One guard swore it ballooned to the size of a tiger, glowing eyes burning through the dark until it lunged, then vanished into smoke. Decades later, a night watchman recounted firing his pistol at a massive feline crouched in Statuary Hall. The bullet passed through it, smoke curling in the air, but the cat's face stayed eerily calm. The man quit the very next day. Others tied the demon cat's appearances to tragedies. Witnesses claimed the beast appeared before the assassinations of Lincoln and Kennedy, slinking through the halls as if delivering a warning. Even in modern times, staffers whisper of scratching at locked doors or glowing eyes at the far end of the corridor when the Capitol is nearly empty. The legend is so persistent that even seasoned guards keep their flashlights close, swearing the demon cat watches from the shadows, waiting for their next calamity. Story 2. The Witch's Familiar of Salem. 1692, Salem burned with paranoia. Neighbors turned against neighbors. The courtrooms thick with accusations. Trials ended in rope and gallows. But amid the hysteria, one chilling detail often slips through the cracks of history. The cats. Court records whispered of black cats stalking the accused women to the courthouse as if summoned. Witnesses swore that a dark feline figure slinked into the rafters during the trials. Whenever someone shouted, "Witch!" its eyes glowed from the shadows above. Some claimed the beast even perched on the judge's bench, tail curling, before vanishing in a puff of sulfur smoke. One trembling girl testified that a cat spoke to her in whispers, tempting her to sin, its voice like silk shadow. And when the hangings came, when the ropes tightened and the crowd gasped, cats were there, prowling beneath the gallows, eyes unblinking, as if to guard their mistress's very souls. Centuries have passed, but Salem remembers. Locals still tell of cats that appear and vanish in the old cemetery. Tourists wandering too long near the memorials feel the sting of glowing eyes on their backs. These are not strays, not pets, but something older, something darker. The witch's familiars, still loyal, even after death. Story 3. The Titanic's Omen Cat. In the shipyards of Belfast, soldiers clung to an old superstition. Every vessel needed a ship's cat for good luck. Cats caught rats, yes, but more importantly, they were said to sense disaster before it struck. One cat, a black and white tabby called Jenny, lived aboard the Titanic during construction. crewmen adored her, and she even recently birthed a litter of her kittens right before the Titanic's maiden voyage. But days before the maiden voyage, Jenny carried her kittens off the ship one by one and never returned. Some workers took it as a sign. A handful even refused to board the ship, whispering that a cat knows when death is coming. Days later, when the Titanic slipped beneath the icy Atlantic, those words echoed like a curse. Sailors say Jenny's ghost still roams the docks where the Titanic was built. Workers have even reported glowing eyes in the empty warehouses, the faint sound of kittens meowing in the dark, a reminder of the omen that no one heeded. Story 4. The Egyptian Cat Curse. Long before black cats were blamed for witchcraft, long before sailors spoke of cats sensing storms, there were the Egyptians. To them, cats were not just animals, they were gods in fur. Bastet, the lion-headed goddess of protection, fertility, and home, was worshipped in temples filled with cats. Statues, shrines, entire cities were dedicated to them. Harming one, even by accident, was punishable by death. Archaeologists tell us thousands of mummified cats were buried alongside humans, their spirits meant to protect in the afterlife. But with reverence came superstition, warnings etched into tomb walls. Disturb not the sacred cat, or your soul shall be devoured. When European explorers began raiding tombs in the 1800s, they scoffed at the curses. They stole cat statues, cat mummies, and even shipped hundreds of mummified felines to grind into fertilizer. And then the stories began. One collector brought a preserved temple cat into his home in London. Within weeks, his family was plagued by sickness.
I'm telling you, that cat is cursed. Cursed.
Guests reported glowing eyes staring from the corners of darkened rooms. Doors opened on their own. At night, they heard scratching from inside the glass case where the cat rested. Before he could return it to Egypt, the man was found dead at his desk. The mummy had gone missing. In Cairo's museum today, guards whisper of shadows flitting between exhibits, of purring echoing through empty halls. Some refuse to patrol near the cat mummies at night. They claim to hear nails clawing inside seals' sarcophagi. And tourists sometimes leave with more than just memories. There are stories of travelers who stole fragments of cat statues, only to mail them back months later with desperate letters begging the curse to be lifted. But here is the cruelest twist. In modern Cairo, cats are no longer worshipped. They're no longer even respected. Many are beaten, poisoned, or just abandoned. Strays wander the streets, starved and sick, treated as vermin. The same creatures once seen as divine now suffer fates too brutal to speak aloud. And maybe, just maybe, that is why the curses linger. Because what was once sacred has been defiled. Because gods do not forget. And because somewhere in the shadows of Egypt, the cats are still watching. Story 5. The Farmhouse Eyes. In the 1900s, a quiet patch of farmland in rural Pennsylvania became the site of one of the region's strangest and most chilling legends. The family who lived there had a cat named Misty, a gentle, smoky gray mouser who followed them everywhere. When Misty passed away, they buried her beneath the roots of an old oak tree behind the farmhouse. It seemed like a peaceful resting place, but peace did not last. That very night, their daughter swore she saw glowing eyes watching her from the bedroom window, 2 perfect circles of light in the dark. Her parents dismissed it as grief and imagination. But the next evening, something new began. The scratching. Long, clawing scrapes across the glass that always came after midnight. The sound was so sharp, so deliberate, that the family described it like fingernails raking down a chalkboard. One night, the father, desperate for answers, grabbed his shotgun and stormed outside. What he found stopped him cold. Paw prints circling the house. But these were not the paw prints of a farm cat. They were far too large, almost wolf-sized, pressed deep into the soil as if something heavy had stalked the perimeter again and again. Neighbors soon reported hearing strange yowls carried across the fields, guttural, mournful cries that no barn cat, no cougar, and no coyote could make. The families tried to calm themselves with reason. They even attempted to dig up Misty's grave to see if an animal had disturbed it. But when the earth was open, they found the soil still intact, undisturbed. The box remained sealed tight, yet empty. Misty's body was gone. By then, whispers had spread across the township. People spoke of an omen cat, a phantom protector who returned from the grave to warn families or to punish them. Some say the spirit was not Misty at all, but something older, something that had taken her form. Within a year, the family abandoned the farmhouse. Windows were broken, shutters rattled in the wind, and the oak tree still cast its long shadow across the yard. Travelers who pass by today claim to see glowing eyes flickering in the upstairs window, as if something paces restlessly behind the broken glass. Others have stopped near the tree and heard it, faint scratching from inside the abandoned house, or the low, sorrowful sound of a cat's cry floating across the empty fields. Locals avoid the road after dark, and some say Misty, or whatever became of her, still wait, her glowing eyes a reminder that not every grave keeps its dead. They say cats are magical and can walk between worlds, but in our world, they've been walking through centuries of shadows cast by human fear. Black cats in particular carry a curse they never asked for, branded as omens when they are nothing more than living, breathable souls like the rest of us. All cat people agree. One of our favorite cats has always been black house panthers, and they are very sweet and very gentle souls. There's one meowing in the background. The truth is, there are no evil cats, only the hurt ones, the frightened ones, the traumatized, the ones who've learned the hard way that it's people who cannot always be trusted. Like the glass shattered too many times, their trust is fragile, but it can be pieced back together. Every day, unimaginable numbers of innocent cats suffer and die in ways no other living creature in the history of the world has ever known. Please think about that for a moment. Every day, unimaginable numbers of innocent cats suffer and die in ways that no other living creature in the history of the world has ever known. Cats abandoned in alleys, burned by cruelty, forgotten in shelters. They are silent victims of a war they didn't start and have no control over at all. They are the world's innocent victims who just keep fighting to survive. But you can be the light in that darkness. You can be that hand that reaches out instead of the one that ignores or strikes. Please support Cat Life 24/7 or get involved with your local cat rescue. And the next time your cat stares into a dark corner of a room, maybe it isn't nothing. Maybe they see what you can't. From the halls of governments to ships to cursed ruins, the legends are endless. But the question remains, are cats protectors or predators? You'll have to decide next time you hear the scratching at your door. Because to a cat in need, you are not just a person. You are the difference between another sad story and a happily ever after. Meow out.
Cat Life 24/7. Finally a solution.